There could be easily 10 million things that might produce hemorrhage within the mucosa of a bowel, and secondary inflammation as well. But let's talk about one of the most common ones. And the most common thing is ischemia. When a bowel does not get enough blood supply, like any other part of the body, it will slowly start to infarct. In the bowel, infarcts are frequently hemorrhagic, and that would explain why not only do you see hemorrhage coming extensively throughout the lamina propria, but if you go a little bit further down, you will even see that other layers of the bowel are not only showing some infiltrate of inflammatory cells, but if you look a little bit closer and go beyond this submucosa into the muscle here now, you might get the impression that the colon just doesn't look like it has its normal crispness. And that's because this is an early infarct. And if it was allowed to progress long enough, it would become paper thin. It could very easily perforate, because that's what large bowels do when they are infarcted. Before they are completely infarcted, though, you have this picture of ischemic colitis, which in the severe stages would be a pancolitis, or these inflammatory cells throughout all layers of the bowel, like you see here. But in the mucosa, you might start to see some of the early changes of hemorrhage within the lamina propria. If you're lucky enough, you might even find a blood vessel in which is thrombosed, or which is causing the ischemia. Very, very often we are given these mucosal biopsies of the colon, and we are asked to determine whether this is ischemic colitis or some other type of colitis, like ulcerative colitis. Sometimes it could be very, very, very difficult to do. There are a few subtle points of differentiation, but for all practical purposes, it's very, very hard to do. Here's hemorrhage within the lamina propria. Here's inflammatory cells within the muscularis. And I would like to show you, hopefully, an area somewhere in the bowel which I could convince you there perhaps is early necrosis, in that when you look closely at the cells, you don't really see too good of an outline. Unfortunately, I don't see any really good evidence for microscopic necrosis here yet. But with time, ischemic colitis could very easily turn into a frank whopping infarct. Thank you very much. World's totally classical ischemic colitis.